Hello, salutations, what it do? It's Dr. Gamer, all father of the Durag Gang. I see you guys are having a party. Everybody's here. What's up? What's going on, Cloud? Thank you for sticking around. Appreciate everybody that came out for my promised 2K22 stream. It was pretty entertaining. So Rip Gaming. What's going on, Infamous Black? Silent Spider. What have you guys been arguing about in my absence? That 2K is trash. It was definitely trash last year. But I had fun. It seemed to be well received. The live stream and the video, the build video. Insomniac is going to make bag. Pretty sure they already have. They're like the king of game studios right now. I mean, if it wasn't for Insomniac, Marvel and gaming would be down pretty bad. But thank God we have Insomniac. A Wolverine and a Spider-Man 2 sequel? What? That's crazy. I hope Wolverine ends up coming earlier than Spider-Man 2. Only because I'm just so excited. But if it follows the same schedule as their last two releases, then actually that would make Wolverine possible for 2022. Late 2022. Did they cancel? As far as I know, they're still on. What's the best way to cop a PS5? The single greatest way right now to cop a PS5 is to go over to my YouTube channel, hit the join button, become a member, then follow the link to the private Discord, go to the general section, and ask about the PS5. Tasha Williams, what do you do? Wolverine is in early development. 2023 it is. What's up, Doom? Welcome. Good to have you here, brother. Facts, you got a GameStop bundle because of Sadat's plug. Yes, sir. Insomniac Marvel Universe, I can't wait. Doom, are you busy this weekend? Because I should finally have some free time. We can record that review. This is your second home. You're more than welcome. Anytime. Might as well become a member. I would appreciate it, sir. You can join the gaming sessions on the weekends. You're saying Wolverine 2024, 2025? Yikes. That seems a bit long. It's Wolverine, not GTA 6. Hitman Xbox isn't getting any exclusive characters. Spider-Man is the last of the exclusive characters coming to Marvel's Avengers. What's going on, Andrew? How you doing? What's up, James? You're surprised they didn't cancel? I mean, they did announce they had a guest and everything. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they announced a stream, had a guest booked, and then canceled. So, but as far as I know, it's still on. I think they're just running a little late. I mean, it is exactly 5 o'clock. What's up, Aaron? I mean, it's a single player open world game, and they work pretty fast. I'm hopeful for 2023. What's going on, Oscar? How do you join? Go to my YouTube channel. There should be a join button at the top of the page. And it is time. A man can dream indeed. Do you guys want to see the Twitch chat, or do you want me to go full screen? Let me know. Cast your votes. Full screen, no full screen, Twitch chat, full. You like reading chat, full. You have to be on a computer. You can be on a computer or a phone unless you're on an iPhone, but you just gotta join. You just gotta hit the join button. Chat is annoying. Chat is lame. Full screen. You think chat? Full. Looks like everybody wants full screen for the most part. All right, we'll go full screen. I'll just adjust this accordingly. Huh, me and Crystal Dynamics have the same starting soon. What a coincidence. Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is very cool. I love Scarlet Witch. Do I know God War will be on PS4 as well? That I don't know. So I put it in theater mode. All right. Hey, it's Phil.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Friday. Hello, everyone.
Woo.
Happy Friday. Hey, everybody.
Oh, my.
Hey.
There's going to be an echo. Happy Friday. Whoops. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've streamed on this computer, so there's a small echo. Apologies for that. Yeah, it has been a while. Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear all of us? Phil, can you say something?
The gang is back, except for Layla.
I'm saying things.
No more Layla.
Mike.
Can you guys hear me okay this time? Yeah, they're saying there's an echo though.
Oh yeah, that was on my end. I think we're good. All right. All three of us are good. Our volume was good because I know there were some issues in the past. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome back. I think, how long has it been since like we've actually done one of these streams? Man, over a month or something, I feel like.
Yeah.
And they haven't seen like.
I think it was clear Layla didn't want to be on
for
these
like
streams.
2 months at this point, right?
I know. It completely disappeared.
Hi. We're expecting to hear
buffering.
about the future of the game.
Are we okay? Is our video good? It's buffering? It is
That
lagging?
Mike guy is like a director.
Probably because I haven't streamed in a while. That might be it. Is it really, really bad in terms of lag? Video's fine for me. Oh.
Seems okay. It just hitched a little bit when we started.
Oh, it's okay. All right, okay.
Yeah. You said like,
You're not expecting anything?
Okay, it's fine. Okay.
Now you're learning.
Good.
Expect
Awesome.
nothing.
Well, it's been a while. I got me, Mike, and Phil here. You guys are gonna see a lot more of Mike going into the future. Mike was here, I think, a few months ago, right?
A while back.
A while back. Yeah, a while back. But he's back. So just some stuff to talk about today. It is our anniversary month. We made it 1 year. Thank you everyone for sticking around,
Expect
for
soon.
joining us on these streams and everything, and showing us support. We really appreciate it, and a lot more to come. So this week we released a roadmap, and that's the majority of this stream. That's what it's going to be about. Just a few more details, and you have Phil here and Mike here to go over most of it. Especially if there's like little
It's your birthday?
things and a lot of
Happy birthday, Oscar.
Specifics.
Hope you have
on
many more.
What we put out on the roadmap. Happy anniversary! Thank you. Happy anniversary to you guys too. This is totally your game.
The Do-Rag
That's nice.
gang is behind you.
Happy birthday, Avengers game. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely need more cake. Clearly more cake.
clearly.
Should have like bought a cake for this, and I'll just eat it the entire time as you
Absolutely.
guys talk.
Oh, now you have to send us cake. That's how it works.
Yeah, that is totally how it works. Anyone have cake here? Because that would be amazing. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you, Juan.
This is exciting so far.
Everyone.
I'll be right back.
All right. So, without further ado, I know we are here with the Zoom window. Let us go. So our Zoom window is going to shrink for us to show the roadmap. And I think that worked. Good job on everything. Happy birthday. Thank you. Hey, Avengers Ad Gamer. Thank you. And just a quick shout out to everyone who made that thank you video to us. Seriously speechless from all of us. I shared it with the entire team on all our channels, and everyone is like a lot of like basically tears of joy and just appreciation for you guys. So thank you guys so much for putting that out there.
That was really nice.
Yeah, means a lot.
Really appreciated. Yeah, very much.
I watched the entire thing twice. So, yeah. All right. So you guys are gonna not hear me talk a lot. Phil, Mike, I'm gonna ask you guys a few things, and let's go. Like, can you guys just give a general high-level overview of the remainder of the year for the roadmap?
Yeah, we sure can. I guess it's a mix of like all the things that we've been talking about. So I think probably the best way to frame it is Mike can talk about the events that are coming, and then because I think we really want to talk about the raid and the gear stuff.
Wow, I managed to miss absolutely nothing.
Confusion. So I'll give it up to Mike first to talk about some of the events, and then I think we can dig into content. Does that sound good?
Yeah, so happy to talk about some of that. So obviously we've made some great events in the past that we saw a lot of player appreciation for and a lot of community engagement. So we definitely wanted to bring those back and give players an opportunity to engage in those again. Those who either A, you missed out the first time, or B, there's just some awesome rewards there, right? So, you know, if you have other heroes on your roster that you're still leveling up or working on and such, or wanting to get them some of that gear that you can get from those rewards or those different events. Really great opportunity for that going forward. So definitely, you know, we're always working on new things, of course, in the future, but definitely want to, you know,
Of course.
re-engage with the awesome stuff that
Always working on new stuff in the future.
In addition, you see under that
like
kind of
recycled content
of community activities. So we're looking for new ways, right, for the community to get engaged with the game. You know, great reasons to log in on a certain weekend or hang out with some friends in the game.
Oh, word, Liam.
Right. So you see things like our
can't believe it.
mission rush, right? So that's a good example where typically, you know, the exotic gear that you get from a priority mission is typically only once a week, right? So when this event is active, you're able to earn those rewards on a daily basis, right? So really great opportunity to chase that stuff down. For the cargo runner community activity, his spawn rate is significantly increased to a 50% chance while this is active, right? So lots of great opportunities to get the rewards from the cargo runner, and he has some pretty awesome stuff that drops from players.
That cargo runner, so exciting.
And then of course our flashback reward cache. So this is where completing flashback mission again when this is active will give players a whole bunch more additional resources than they would normally get, right? So really trying to get give players the opportunity to explore other types of the content, other versions of the missions, and hopefully play with other players as well. So that's pretty great. In addition, you see we have bonus XP listed there as well. So we ran our first, bonus XP weekend a little while ago. That was really successful.
10K hair reveal and PS5 giveaway,
which was great to see. So we're looking for more opportunities to have more of those going forward. So we'll definitely talk about more of those as we lock in our dates and be able to share those with players. But it's really just a great time to, hey, I'm working on my champion levels for a particular, or I got to level 30 or 40 on this other hero. I really wanted to get them further along, or maybe you haven't finished leveling up Black Panther yet, right? So those are great times to log in to move those characters forward. And so those are some really cool activities we have going on. But then we also have cool new content coming out, right? And in particular, we have what we just labeled here as raid. Just to be clear, this is not the OLT. And Phil, you want to talk about what that means?
Yeah. So I talked about this with
it means
with
smash that like button.
But the big reason why we decided to call this a raid is because that content is really different in the OLTs. I talked about this in another stream, right? Like I was saying, hey, the family reunion OLT, like cool boss, but the level isn't as unique as it could have been, and that really just doesn't hit the same notes like with Claw, right? So we wanted to do something more elaborate, something that's more expansive, that has a bigger scope. So really, when we look at the Claw raid, we're calling it a raid because it's different. It's a completely new level. Everything is custom. There's some new enemies in there. There's a mini boss at the beginning. So there's some really cool things that we're doing for it. But OLTs are still cool. So we're going to have OLTs still. It's just that this is a different type of content. So moving forward, we're going to call these things raids. And you'll see when we actually show you the gameplay a little bit, which isn't today. Don't want to,
Of course not.
Not today.
Control. But when we show you, you'll see kind of what we mean. The other thing that's really cool is we're adding new enemies, right? So I know I talked about echoes a little bit in the past, but we have enemies that Claw literally created. So we made these specifically for the raid. So that's another thing that makes the raid interesting, is it gives you a chance to fight some enemies that were made specifically for that. And somebody had asked me recently, like, hey, does that mean like that's the only place we'll ever see those enemies? No, not necessarily. I mean, once we have them made, we can use them elsewhere, right? But the idea is to introduce them in a cool, unique context so that content has a lot of novelty when you play it. And that's certainly part of our philosophy moving forward, right? We want to make sure that when we do content, it has a clear identity, like it's got an interesting personality, and what you're doing in there feels different than what you're playing elsewhere, right? And I kind of want to also mention that there's some confusion about this. That content is coming out with gear upgrading, right? These things are going to come together with the power level cap increase. And I know Mike is probably dying to give you some updates on that. But some people were worried that one might come without the other. That's not the case. So these things will be released at the same time. Do you want to talk about the upcoming reworks, Mike?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because they're not reworks.
Thanks, Phil. So in particular, again, we wanted to not only make this amazing content that players who have progressed through the game are able to engage in. You know, it offers a lot of unique things that you haven't seen before, the enemies that Phil talked about. But a big part of that too is we want to make sure we're really engaging the players who have gotten to that point of the game. And it's not only is this content different, more offerings and more challenging than before, but we also are progressing the game, right? So the journey, players, we're raising the level cap, so players will go from power level 150 to power level 175. So this is a first for the game. It's a huge step forward, and it's really going to give players a challenge to work towards some of this content. And from a high level, part of what we needed to do there too, we wanted to make sure that all of the gear, right, the exotics that players have been working towards, with the mega hives, right, more recently with family reunion, right, and so forth and so on, and even priority missions, right. We wanted to make sure that that exotic gear and other higher level gear can be moved forward, right, with the power level cap. Because the way this system currently works, as we're all familiar with, is that you get a piece of gear and then you can only raise it up 10 power levels, right? But we're raising the power level cap to 175. So the way the new system is going to work, when this drops at the same time as the rate of the content itself and the power level cap. So when this is out there, you'll be able to, it will require resources as right now, upgrade modules, and then also more of a fragment cost and such, the higher and higher power level that you go. But in order to upgrade your gear that is lower power level, you need to feed it or consume gear that is the higher power level. So for an example right now, Phil has an awesome Mega Hive set, right? He's fully maxed it out. It's power level 140 once you raise it up 10 power levels, right? But now he's collecting gear from the new content, because the new content, of course, has new gear as well, new exotics, new exciting things for players to chase. Not going into the details about that today, but there is going to be new stuff. And so now you have a choice as a player, on both collecting the gear of the new power level, but I also can use gear that I'm getting from this content to then go take my Mega Hive gear and say, let's say I get a power level 155 piece of gear from the content. I can then use that with the upgrade modules and fragment resources to upgrade, my Mega Hive gear up to those levels, so forth and so on. So that's really important.
But you can't change your stats or your perks.
Tied together. This
no, James.
Sure
no vibranium or sonic exotics.
You're progressing in your power levels and your gear, that you also will take the awesome gear that you've already collected with you. Now, again, there will be some restrictions to that. We haven't necessarily locked in the exact details, but the gear will need to be a minimum power level in order to upgrade it, and also a certain rarity as well, and such. So it's not just all gear in the game, but it is definitely the
Infusion,
gear that you're going to be interested as a player if you've reached that content.
Mike, a lot of people are asking if we're looking into doing something like letting them reroll perks, and they're also asking if we're going to have new perks coming out with that gear.
That's a great question. So, like I said, we'll do, I'm sure, another deeper dive at some point in the near, I don't know when exactly, but the future. We'll talk more about the raid itself and more about the gear specifically that you can get from this new content. I can tell you that it is new gear, and it will have some new perks, but we're not going to the specifics today about that. In terms of perk re-rolling and other things like that, you can see that we're very committed to not only advancing the game, adding more gear, adding more things for players to collect and go after exciting stuff. But a big part of it too is making sure we're improving our foundation, right? Making sure we're improving our existing systems. And that's where you see like our gear upgrading system and the resource rework that's going along with that as well. So there are a lot of other ideas, perk re-rolls and things like that the team have been discussing. The community has provided a lot of great things for us to think about, really good feedback. We're not ready to talk about that today, but we absolutely, as a team, are looking into how do we improve our systems going forward.
And just something quick on that, Mike. So the gear upgrading, reworking gear in general, like updates, we're not done just reworking it this year. It's going to be a continuous thing, right?
Yeah, we're looking where there are multiple facets on how to improve.
That's
this,
all
right?
cap, by the
And
way.
it's a big part of it's not just about adding more gear and more perks, which of course is a part of it too, but it's how do we make the gear you have more interesting? How do we give players more agency?
They're not working
how
on gear reroll.
Do different things. How do we make sure you can take that gear with you that you earned, right? All the time you invested, making sure, like, you know, you make your hero, you make a build, you make a loadout that you are excited about, right? Your character's playing the way you want it to play, that you're happy with, and we want to make sure you can take that stuff with you. So there are other opportunities we will be looking at going into next year as well
Doom.
to see how we can improve this.
Let me get ahead of like the classic questions. So I know a lot of you are asking about cloning labs and patrols. So we've been focusing a lot on the claw raid for this side of the year, and really that's what the team needed to focus on. We really want the claw raid to be awesome, and we really need to spend our efforts on it. So that's what we're focusing on right now. I will absolutely give you guys updates on cloning labs and patrol when we have some. But currently, the team is focused really hard on getting the power increase, the gear rework, the claw raid, and Spider-Man to be done. That's the most important things right now. So that's what everybody's working on. So not to avoid the cloning labs and patrol questions. Obviously, you know, we've been talking about cloning labs for a very, very long time. So I know how that feels. I get it. We'll give you guys an update as soon as we have one.
Mike, so you mentioned the resource.
Wolverine is going to come out
Is there
before
anything
cloning
else you wanted to
labs.
say about that?
Mark my words.
Yeah, I'm happy to flesh that out a little bit more. And again, we'll probably do a deeper dive or conversation in a future update.
Grand Theft Auto 6
level,
is coming out before cloning labs.
To making sure the players have more clarity and agency in terms of their progression journey for their heroes. And a big part of that is the resources. We want to make sure that resources have very clear purpose and identity, and that the players know where they're getting them from. And a good example of that right now is, you know, players can get polycoron in the game, right? And that, for the most part, comes from your daily ritual content with the factions. And polycoron is used for upgrading major artifacts. Everybody knows that. It's really clear. It's really it's a good flow. It's a good path. Other things like upgrading gear right now, it actually requires multiple different types of resources depending on where you are in the system and the type of gear that you're trying to upgrade. So going forward, we're going to be making it so you just need upgrade modules is the primary resource, plus the gear you need to consume in order to upgrade the gear, right, for that system. Now, we will be having fragments as a scaling cost on upgrading gear, and that will be used for other things as well going forward. Fragments are very important for players. That being said, we're going to the other resources that if they don't have a very distinct purpose right now, we're going to be turning some of those off, putting them temporarily, putting them on the shelf, if you will, and then we're going to be bringing them back once they have a very clear purpose and use with the system, and we make it very clear where players can earn those currencies. You're still going to have the things you would expect. You know, units have a very clear purpose, right, for the cosmetic vendor, right? DNA keys have a very clear purpose, right, for the chest, right? So those are all going to still remain there, but we wanted to streamline some of the resources for some of those other systems to make sure they have clear purpose and identity. And for players who already have a bunch of those resources, we'll have a conversion system that will go once that goes live. So you won't lose out. All of those resources will get converted to fragments so that the players will not lose anything. They will just get their currencies converted over to something that is useful.
Does that mean they're going to raise the cap?
People are asking
on fragments?
if we have any plans to increase the resource cap, because a lot of people are capped out on their resources.
Yeah, we have been looking into that. So again, not ready to do a deep dive today, but hopefully we'll be doing a deep dive soon on this.
Why do you need a deep dive on that? It's a yes or no question.
Aware that players are
it's literally a yes or no question.
Solutions to make sure you do not miss out on, hey, I was at the cap and therefore my resources were lost. We're making sure that's not going to be what happens. So, like I said, we'll go into more of those details.
Are you raising the resource cap? Yes or no? Yes or no? You don't need details. It's a yes or no question.
Confused about the Spider-Man event thing. So Spider-Man is going to be here to stay once he's released. Just because there's an event that goes along with it doesn't mean it's a temporary character or anything like that.
There's no
concerns
cosmetic,
there. Once
cosmetic vendor.
Out,
that's a myth.
Staying.
Yeah, and we'll show and talk more about Spider-Man in the coming months before he releases by the end of the year. Mike, So the whole cosmetic rework thing that has kind of changed names to just earnable cosmetics, pretty much. Is Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, happy to. So I know this is something that players and us as a team as well care
Exactly.
a lot about.
Just say
And
yes.
so why you're seeing here it's being called labeled as earnable cosmetics is because there's multiple facets to this. It's not just one thing. We're actually looking at multiple opportunities and ways that players can earn cosmetics in the game going forward, not necessarily just the ways they were doing that, earning them before. So that's why you see that name change. We're not ready to do a deep dive today, but one example, of course, is bringing back patterns. But we want patterns. Again, we're looking at where can patterns be earned from, making it clearer for players how they can get more patterns if that's something that they're pursuing or interested in or chasing, adding more clarity to that system. So that's one example, but there are also other areas where we're looking for allowing players to earn cosmetics as well. That's why the change in terminology there. So hopefully we'll be doing a bigger dive on that soon as well, certainly before those changes go live, and then we'll be able to talk more about
I have a
that.
prediction.
So it's more than one thing.
I bet patterns are going to be in the marketplace.
Thanks. Yeah,
That's where they're
for
going to
all
put
these
them.
things, you know, we are going to have more plans to go into a deeper dive once we have more details that we can give, whether that's a stream, whether that's through a blog, whether that's through any other means. But for now, this is like the roadmap for the rest of the year. Let me see.
Gotta kick on down,
Phil, you
kick
talked
on
about
down the road.
raid already. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
What can I say about it without getting in trouble?
It's awesome.
I can tell you that one of the cool things with the raid is that it gives you a chance to really wrap up some of the events in Wakanda. I don't want to give details in case somebody hasn't played the operation yet, but it gives you a good finality in what was going on. It's some of the most superhero stuff that we've done yet. Like the stakes are really high. Like
Simple
what you're
time.
fighting is cool.
You're going to buy a bundle.
I think you'll be happy
With the Heroes
direction that we're
Catalyst
taking with it. To me, like
and
I've
a pattern.
always wanted to have multiplayer content where the Avengers
And you'll
feel
get a
like they're
mysterious
fighting big,
skin
really
inside
dangerous
of it.
threats, right? Like something that you really need the Avengers to solve the problem. So, and I think we're really hitting that with the raid. So I think that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to see how you guys get through it, and if you like the challenges, and if you like the puzzles, and if you like the fights. A note on the fights, like certainly what we've been doing with some of the bosses that you've seen so far, that's more in the direction that we're taking moving forward. So rather than just doing, massive bullet sponges, we're trying to do things that have phases, things that need a little bit of strategy, things that you have to think about. And that's really important, I think, for the health of the game moving forward. We're even looking at having an elite version of the raid where the difficulty is considerably higher, where the requirements on your character and your gear are much higher. And that's part of making the difficulty more challenging without just increasing power levels. So, and I mean power levels for the enemies. I know you guys have been asking for that for a long time. The thing with just increasing power levels on enemies is that it doesn't really do the difficulty that everybody would be happy with. So moving forward, we're looking more into ways where it's mechanics that make the game more challenging rather than just a pure power increase. Doesn't mean we're not going to do power increases, because we absolutely are, because that's part of it. But really, when you guys say, hey, I want a bigger challenge, we're looking into something that's more mechanically challenging. And I think that's more fun, at least in the way that we've been playing internally. I think that gives us much stronger results. So.
Can you guys, well, so I think you guys can talk a little bit more. I mean, obviously there's not a lot we can say, but like we totally have plans for 2022, right?
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, we've got plans for more villains, more heroes, and as soon as we can get everything ratified and approved, we'll be happy to communicate about it. But yeah, we have plans for next year. This is not the last of the content that we're making. I know some people were worried, like, hey, there's only so many things. Yeah, that's the things we're ready to talk about, but there will be other things.
Yeah, this roadmap just goes until the end of the year.
That's what Anthem said.
As Phil said, we have a lot of plans. More heroes, more villains.
So did
more
Anthem.
Content overall, and can't wait to talk about those. Like, I saw a really good question for you, Mike, but I totally lost it.
Yeah, it's gone forever.
I know.
So, hey, Mike, one of the questions that people have been asking me for a long time, and I promised them that I would talk to you about
Oh,
it,
promise. Ooh.
is comics. So a lot of people have been asking if we would consider going back to having more frequent drop rates for the comics so that they're easier to get, and basically if we're doing anything with comics at all.
Well, that is a loaded question right there. I could tell you this. We're definitely not doing any big announcements today. That being said, you see how we are taking, we're not just looking at adding and expanding our systems, but we're also, as you see in the existing roadmap, looking at reworking and improving existing systems. So we are definitely looking at other opportunities on how we could improve other systems beyond, we have gear upgrading as one of them out of the gear resources. Comics has definitely been an important topic for us. Gotten a lot of feedback on that. Definitely a lot of great ideas. So nothing to talk about today, but it is something that's very important to us. Yes.
Yeah, and we'll certainly talk about the drop rates for the comics. I think Mike and I will look into it and see what's going on there. If there's anything that we can do. But we've heard you loud and clear. You want to get better access to comics. I get it.
Absolutely.
Is there going to be matchmaking in the raid? I think we can answer that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right? Okay.
So, I mean, I've talked about this in the past, but my philosophy is 100% letting you have access to the content. I know there's some online games that have a philosophy where, because it requires more collaboration and more coordination, they don't want you to just, bug it. But I would much rather you guys have the opportunity to give it a try. Plus, you're a good community. You guys are good at playing with each other, so it'll work out.
Oh
great.
man, matchmaking is going to be a nightmare.
That's a better way to go. I know there's not
when the raid comes out,
but yeah. Anyways, long story short, yes, matchmaking for the raid, absolutely.
Yeah, it should just be similar to how you interact with Family Union right now. You can either matchmake or direct invite friends. If either system works just fine.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be join in progress then? Because right now the OLT is crashing.
Outfits this year, yes. The next one is, yeah, look out for it. But yes, definitely.
So close, so close.
Yeah, we can't talk about the specifics on those yet, but we can tell you they have been they've gone over very well with the community. They've been very popular, a lot of positive feedback. As you can see, our team puts a tremendous amount of love and attention to detail.
You buy skin now, yes?
And accuracy into those outfits. And so definitely expect to see more of them in the upcoming months.
You want a time frame for the raid? Soon. Now buy skins.
Oh, there we go. Mike, are there any plans to tweak Sonic or Vibranium gear?
In terms of the gear specifically, as with all of our gear, it's an ongoing review process, right? This is not a specific one moment in time, one review, so forth and so on.
Ooh,
so
a Jin Saki reference. Nice.
Right,
we got political chat today.
Types of gear, right, from Family Reunion or new gear from Wakanda, so forth and so on. And so that we have opportunities, just like with each release, we have opportunities to fix some additional bugs or things in the game. There are certainly we're always evaluating tuning or changing where it makes sense for different types of gear as well. So the answer is yes, we are always looking at things. We are always looking at the feedback. We're looking at how players are performing in the different content. So there are definitely, it's an ongoing opportunity. It's not there's just one chance that it doesn't change. It will never change again. That's not how it works.
Perfect.
Status Shock is coming soon.
Is the raid going to be more than 4 players?
No, the raid is still 4 players. I would love in the future to investigate the possibility of doing more players, but that's considerably more complicated than just doing it. There's all sorts of things that would have to come into play to do something like that. But we are tailoring the challenge to make it very interesting for 4 players. So I totally understand why people are asking for it. It's something I'd love to investigate. But yeah, current one is 4 players.
Yep.
Are there any plans for more comic-based outfits?
For the outfits, so right, our team approaches it looks at different opportunities, right? So while we have more MC outfits now than we did before, those are not the only outfits we're releasing, right? So you'll see we are still releasing some outfit sets. We're still adding different types of other cosmetics as well, so forth and so on. So yeah, you will continue to see a variety of different cosmetics added to the game in the upcoming months. I wouldn't expect that to change. You'll still see a variety of things going forward.
I see a question. What's the process like making the MCU skins? We can probably invite one of our artists here
Yeah.
to answer that question for you, because I'm not going to speak for you guys, but I think we would need to talk to our artist instead, right?
Yeah, we're not the artists.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. We could probably draw a really nice stick figure, or give you some awesome Excel sheets, or.
I make horrible stick figures. I'm well known on the team for horrible designs. Yeah, like I can't draw.
But it's definitely a lengthy process. You can see how much love and detail goes into these things, and it takes a lot of effort and time to make those happen. So yeah, in terms of if that's something that the community would be interested in learning more about, right, Andy, we definitely have a lot of really talented people that we could either on a blog or chat or something, have them walk you through that process.
Yeah, I think last time Brendan was here, it was really well received. So we can
get
Brendan or Jeff back or something to just go over like the entire process.
We could talk about that for hours.
oh, for sure.
It's a process.
Any updating current heroes with new skills? With any new skills? Is that?
Not at the moment. So that's something that we know you guys would like to see, but I've talked about this in the past a little bit. We always evaluate what's the biggest value, right? Like we can add new things, or we can modify what we've already released.
What's the biggest value?
Right now, at least, the philosophy for us moving forward is to add new things. It doesn't mean we'll never do it, though, just to be clear. But right now, today, we're not announcing any sort of new skills or reworks on the existing heroes, which doesn't mean we never will, though, just to be clear.
Is there any content not in the roadmap that will be available by the end of the year?
I mean, that's a you question, Andy.
Is it a me question?
Yeah. You're trying to get us in trouble?
You're trying to get us in trouble. No one even posted that.
We're always working on a lot of things. Whether or not that makes it in this year or the next, we still need to think about and finalize on our end. But we are definitely working on, actively working on more things that are not on this roadmap, but when they get released is up in the air right now.
There you go.
Up in the air?
Have Laura Bailey on stream who voices Black Widow. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, and you should, maybe let me know ahead of time when we do that next time.
You've missed. No, you were there with Sandra.
I've missed almost everything, and then when Christopher Judge was there, I was moving, so it's not working out.
Why did you move? It's your own fault.
I know. I keep making bad choices apparently.
You need to structure your life around when we're streaming.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I guess this is more of a question for Mike. Is photo mode? Are there any plans, or do we want to update photo mode at all in the future?
Photo mode's really popular. And the sheer number of things.
Photo mode is basically the end game content.
It's really awesome just seeing the different shots and things that they've accomplished with the photo mode. It's a feature that's very near and dear to us. We like it quite a bit. We have actually a whole big backlog of ideas, both from external ideas that the community's provided and internal ideas.
They dodge questions like your father dodges child support.
Looking at opportunities to expand or improve photo mode is definitely something we've been discussing. Don't have any dates or anything to announce at this point in time, but it's a very popular feature and we are looking for chances. Yeah.
Someone in chat for you, Mike, is asking about the pattern machine in the outpost. If you can just reiterate anything you can about the earned cosmetics.
Again, the earnable cosmetics, we're looking at multiple ways for players to earn cosmetics going forward, not just one. But specifically, we're not going into doing a deep dive today. We'll do another deep dive on that in the upcoming months when we're ready to talk more about it. That being said, we are definitely looking at bringing the patterns back, which is why the pattern machine still exists in the outpost. So yeah, I anticipate you will still need to use the pattern machine once you obtain patterns going forward in order
Oops. What was that? Did Andy forget to pay his electricity? Did Andy's internet go out?
All right. I see.
There we go.
You know, every time we do these streams, and I know it's a very popular request for crossplay, but I think right now that's just you know, I think every game studio would love to do crossplay, but that's just something that's not on our plate currently.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things. Doesn't mean we never will. It's just something that we don't have going right now, but we would love to.
Yep.
We know how much you guys are asking for it. Trust us, we know.
Oh yeah, we totally know. All right, let's see. Hold on. A lot more questions of, is Patrol still being actively worked on?
Bro, crossplay is never happening.
We focused a lot on the claw raid, so
No, they're not working on Patrol mode.
and cloning labs are things that we're gonna have to talk about later. Just because we focused all of our team's efforts on the raid.
Oof.
We just made the decision that it was much more important to get endgame going in a real meaningful way. And as much as cloning labs and Patrol have a great role
Crossplay is a myth.
Can play in the ecosystem of all the content that we have, I just feel like the end game was more important at this point. So it's just a question of priorities. It's not because we don't like the other content. It's not because we don't want to do it. It's just, you know, when you have to make a choice, and it's a tough choice, right? Because I mean, all the content that we work on, I love. Like, I mean, it's not like we're just going along going like, oh, well, let's just get rid of all these things that people are expecting. Like, that's not how we look about it.
They just don't have enough people to work on this stuff.
Development
that's
going,
all.
Look, if we have so much time, what do we want to spend our time on? And to me, it's just, it's endgame. I think it's the right time for the Claw raid. I mean, it's the conclusion to what's happening in Wakanda. It all makes sense to focus on that right now. I think when you guys play it, you'll think it was worth it for us to focus on this. But again, right,
definitely,
like, we will talk about things like cloning labs and Patrol as soon as we can talk about it with, you know, more precision. Otherwise, I just sit here going like, yeah, we'll talk about it soon, but you know, it's not how much you're like that. I don't like it either.
No, it's pretty cool though. I've jumped in, so I'm looking forward to it. All right. Is there anything else on the roadmap you guys want to talk about, or anything about the
Spider-Man
for the rest of the year that you guys want to focus on? Any other messages you guys want to get across?
I mean, at least on my end, I know we've covered a lot at the high level, but if you can get some good questions out of chat, I mean, I think Mike and I'd be happy to answer them.
They didn't answer my question.
Okay. Let's see.
Let me ask again.
What have we not answered that you guys really wanted to hear today?
A lot.
If
a
we
lot.
can, we'll answer.
Will Andy ever get a PS5? I wish.
He's trying.
I'm trying real hard, you guys.
You and a lot of other people.
I know. Any more villain sectors?
Nothing announced right now, but that doesn't mean we won't do more villain sectors. Again, it's just
that means
a question of focus. So right now it's all hands on deck Claw raid.
What are echoes?
Oh, echoes are they're sound constructs that are created by Claw. So we're actually going to try to show them to you guys when we can, but let's see, without spoiling too much, they're not robots, so I know that's going to be popular. They're really meant to be a cool addition to the raid, and I can even tell you that how do I say this without spoiling anything?
The next person that decides to rub Spider-Man in your face, you swear?
Of the fights, one of the encounters
Hold on.
in the raid. That's as much as I'll say. So we actually have a fight where the soundlings play a part. They have something to do in there, and you'll see when you get there, but it's pretty cool.
Please add more war zones. I think you address that for the villain sector thing. Let's see. Can you talk about the process of development to help the community understand development flow?
Man, it's a big question.
That's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, at any given time, right, we look at what we need to do right now and what we need to do later, and then we kind of have to split our efforts between different things, right? And we have different teams. Like Mike and I are basically kind of split down the middle, where Mike takes care of a lot of the system side of things, and I take care of a lot of level content side of things.
Literally 2 people working on it.
So those things are always happening in parallel, right? So if you're ever worried, like, oh, well, they're doing systems, but they're not doing levels, or they're doing levels, but they should be doing systems, or they should be doing heroes. Well, those things all happen at the same time. So that's something that we can do, right? So at any given time, we kind of look at the resources we have, and then we put our priorities and our efforts behind the things that are the most important at any given time. So what ends up happening, and this isn't just us, I mean, this happens a lot in game development. Sometimes you have to make priority calls and things get moved out. Like that's why things like cloning labs and patrol, I mean, cloning labs is a long history, so we won't get into that today. I mean, you guys have been there with us on that one. But that's how these things happen, right? So I think the important thing is that we put our resources and our effort in the right place at the right time. But you should know that any given time, the stuff that we're talking about is the stuff that we can talk about. There's always other things.
I feel better now.
Development. Like there's a lot more than just that roadmap that we're actually working on. So, you know, if it was easy to just talk about all that stuff, we would. Obviously, you know, it's not that simple, but there's all sorts of things going on. So again, any given time, there's system works like gear, heroes, levels, systems.
This is my happy place.
Stuff is getting worked on at the same time. So just because we talk about one versus the other doesn't mean we're not working on it.
Yeah, I think there's probably some confusion, I think, for people who are just not familiar, right, with the development process because they haven't been around it very much. But in terms of making the various pieces of content, systems, features, so forth and so on, as we said,
that's more like it.
It's not just we're working on a lot more than what you just hear, and it's very much not, hey, we work on one milestone and the entire team, everybody is just doing what's due for the next milestone, and then everybody switches. When that's done, you switch to the next one. That's actually not how it works. It's very much more, there are a lot of things going on in parallel, right? So you have different, depending on which release we're talking about, there are people working directly on features or content for that release, but then you have a bunch of other people who are working on features and content for the next release, or perhaps the release after that. And then other people in parallel working on improving or fixing bugs or things.
And this is why you don't get to be a CD partner.
Right?
You're right, Ryan.
It requires a lot
Absolutely
of really
right.
talented people on various disciplines, different teams working in parallel on all these different things to allow us to release this content. As an example, it wasn't just, hey, we finished, you know,
literally 2 people.
He came out, now everybody just works on Wakanda. No, you know, some of the stuff, as an example, like the raid, was being worked on in parallel, because that requires a lot of time and energy and team resources to make that happen. So
Barman is the only character they're making money on.
Get confused because they're not familiar with it, thinking that, hey, if we're working on, for instance, gear upgrading, that means we could have had you know, a different piece of Warzone content. Those actually are very different things that happen at very different time intervals with very different team resources. So the fact that we have all these, which is why you see a mix of different types of releases when we have updates to the game, right? It's not just, here's just a content level release. Here's not just a feature release. It's constantly, you're going to see a variety of things on the different updates.
Do we have any plans to look at the champion system again?
Oh, they actually answered that question.
The champion system, we've been definitely collecting feedback from players on that. And in some ways, the champion system is working well. In other ways, we definitely are there areas that could be improved. Right? Some things I think landed more effectively than others. So yeah, we are definitely observing that.
They're observing it,
feedback and
collecting feedback
for opportunities in terms of, again, prioritizing.
Looking for opportunities, prioritizing
what might be a good time or opportunity. And then again, ultimately, we have to make priority decisions, right? Because it's just the team is only so large. You can only work on so many things in parallel.
Small team. That's right.
So I think this was a good question because somebody was asking, like, do we even have dates for some of this content? Like, how come we don't give dates and all that? So the way that this stuff works, right, is internally we have dates, of course. We set dates for content, and then we do our best to stick by those. And as content gets close to being finished, that's when you do your testing and you do all sorts of things. You play test it, you make sure it's good. And then there's a ton of things that need to line up to make sure that everything's happening the way it should. There's patches to figure out. We have to talk to all the different consoles. We have to talk to marketing. We have to talk to brand. We have to talk to Marvel. Then all that stuff has to line up. So when we say, like, when we can, that means when the content is ready, when everybody's signed off on it, when everybody's looked at everything and goes, great, that's the plan. We're doing this because in the past, if we set dates a little bit too early and then we missed them, then it was annoying everybody, and we get that. So what we're doing right now is just making sure that we get all that stuff lined up. So when we say, soon, or we say, hey, when we can, that's really what that means. But of course, internally, we have dates for content. It's just not something that we're releasing because until we get clear on them or we're more sure, we feel it's just the better way to go. So that's just where we're at right now, being honest about it.
Any plans for Join in Progress?
We'd love to do Join in Progress. It's not something we've announced at this point, but we would love to do it. We know how much it would help, especially for longer content, especially for things like, I know we've already talked about how that would strongly benefit something like patrol mode. So totally get it.
Could you show us a picture of Spider-Man? I mean, it's technically in the roadmap.
Yeah, there's
technically you're looking at one right now.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Can you guys talk about the Disney Plus challenges on the roadmap at all?
We can talk a little bit about it. So effectively what it means is there are different opportunities that come along, as we are all well aware, right? MCU and Disney Plus are releasing more and more amazing content all the time, which is really exciting. And every once in a while, right, there's an opportunity where they might be doing content about characters or themes or things that are actually main aspects of our product, right, of our Marvel's Avengers, right? So when those opportunities come along, we definitely would like to, acknowledge the amazing content that they're producing, and it's a great engagement and talking point for the community and such. So again, that's another special event moment, right, where we'll have some activity, a challenge, right, as it's labeled, for players to do to be able to earn, right, a unique nameplate, similar to other events and such. So yeah, it's just when those opportunities line up, we definitely want to make sure we're acknowledging that amazing content and how it relates to our product.
Great. So
one thing I wanted to answer, because
Yeah.
I think I've seen it coming back a few times, and Mike, you can add to it if you want, but a lot of people are asking about the direction for gear and why we're doing some of the changes we're doing. One of the directions that we have for gear is that we feel like in the past it's been a little bit too random the way that you get gear. Random in the sense of, are you even going to get it? Where do you get it? Is it going to be beneficial for your character? So part of the changes that we're doing, and this is, some of what we talked about is only some of the changes. We want to make sure that you get more reliability and more satisfaction out of farming for gear, right? So when you're doing a cool piece of content, you should have a good idea of what you're shooting for, and you should get something that's more satisfying. And we're going to have a lot of changes to do to get everything done, but that's the direction that we have. I don't know if you want to add to that, Mike, but that's
Bobo.
That's a good summary. Yeah,
You literally
missed
nothing.
Some of the examples of that already, and I think this goes back towards similar to what I mentioned earlier about the resources and how we're reworking those. Right, very clear. Each resource has one very clear purpose.
Are we getting Wolverine?
And a clear
Yes.
Reward pass or areas
From
where
Insomniac
players
Games.
I need X to accomplish Y. It's very clear.
Not from
I
this
need
studio.
To go do this type of content to earn it. So you're going to see similar things like that with the gear and gear sets as well. You saw that with Mega Hives as an example, right? It was originally dropping 2 sets, and instead we took one of those sets and put it on another piece of content. We wanted to make sure players still had full access to that gear so they weren't missing out, but we wanted to make sure, hey, if I'm going to go do Mega Hives, I'm going to earn my Mega Hive gear, right? That's very clear reward to content connection there, right? So you're going to see more of that continue going forward as we make it very clear. The player is choosing, I want to collect this type of gear or this type of resource or whatever it is they're going after as part of their progression. And they should have a very clear understanding what they need to do in order to obtain that. And we want to make it so it's more reliable so they understand this level of effort of playing. When I play my once a week Mega Hive, I have it guaranteed I'm going to get Mega Hive gear, right? So players have control over the time and they know what they're going to get for their commitment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see someone saying, "Will you fix Thor's MCU cape?" That is totally being fixed in one of the upcoming patches. So just
That's what you said in the last patch.
Yep, that's a good one. As always, right? Some things slip through the cracks.
Literally.
Which is, the good news is the community is very good about telling us about those things, and so we definitely hear you loud and clear. And we work, the team works very diligently to fix those things as rapidly as we can when that happens.
Yeah, thanks for all the hard work. Can't wait to get my paws on all this. Thanks, Chaos Kitty.
Spider-Man is a free DLC character only available for PlayStation players.
We have like 5 or less.
PlayStation Plus
left.
is related to your
any
online
questions?
access.
Is there any like last minute thing that you guys want to talk about? Like
Not for your ability to get DLCs.
Just bring up before we go.
I can say that elite version of Claw Raid is a good attempt at difficulty modifiers. So we'll looking forward to see how you guys feel about that and see if that's something that we want to do more of. So it's kind of like tackling that overall topic of difficulty. There isn't anything right now that we're talking about that changes difficulty overall in the game. But that's kind of like in the direction that we're interested in going. So we'll see how you guys respond to that and how much you like the challenge. Other than that, just if you got more
Rishi, PlayStation. It doesn't matter if you have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, Mike, anything else you want to say?
It's free for everyone on PlayStation.
Right, we mentioned we're looking forward to digging in deeper.
God, they better not do blue shields
in the upcoming weeks and months as we move along through the remainder of this year. So that we'll be able to get to more of the specifics about the raid, more specifics about Spidey and different things. So definitely keep checking in to hear more updates on those. And as always, right, please keep sending us your feedback, your comments. The community is super helpful. A lot of your feedback helps us, figure out, helps, hey, we should prioritize this over that, if this is something that's important.
All right, Ryan.
We should look at it. So please keep.
I'll be heading out too. My food's almost here.
Great. I think we're good then, unless Phil, you're seeing some questions that you want to answer. If not, then.
I think we've covered just about everything. I mean, just to reiterate it, I know everybody wants to get information on Spider-Man. We will talk about Spider-Man as soon as we're able to.
Soon.
Andy will make a big deal out of it. I am sure he's going to be so excited when we can do that focus. That might actually be a good. We should see if we can get Scott back in when we can talk Spider-Man, right? That'd be a fun.
Oh God, not Scott.
Liked having Scott last time, so we should do that again.
Yeah, Scott joins us for all the combat showcases and everything, so would love to do one for Spider-Man.
I thought please don't let it be Scott Amos.
In the coming months. I can't wait to talk about it. Like you said. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. We just wanted to answer some questions, go over the roadmap in a little bit more detail for you guys, just because we dropped it I think a few days ago. So with that said, I think we're gonna call it.
When will Sonic and Vibranium drop for exotics?
Top of the hour now.
When they decide to do that.
We are officially past 1 year for this game, and we seriously cannot wait to tell you guys about the plans for next year and everything. Yeah, Phil, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Any words of support or anything? Any
Oh,
farewell
thanks.
words?
We got you guys.
I did not farewell, but until next time.
Until
I
next
know,
time.
until-
There we go.
Till
Which
next
won't be
time.
which won't be months this time.
No.
No more moving.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks,
have
everyone.
A great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Later.
So before I get out of here, I wanted to clarify, since I do have some inside information, the reason why they gave answers like, oh, we have to prioritize and we can't do this because it's all hands on decks for Claw. The reality is they are short on staff and on resources. They don't have a lot of people working on the game. So the few staff that they had left, they moved them off of pretty much all other projects to get the Claw raid done this year, in addition to Spider-Man. Those two pieces of content are where pretty much all of their resources are being focused towards. So the stuff they said about gear rerolls, they're not working on it. That's not in their plans. It's not in active development. They're not doing pretty much anything except the Claw raid and getting the Spider-Man event done. That's the truth of it. Everything else is on the back burner for the foreseeable future. Except for MCU skins, because that is how they fund the game. So all the other updates soon. We're not talking about it, but you'll definitely be able to buy some stuff. Sounds like they are dropping an MCU skin soon. That means one of the recycled events is probably coming up in the next several weeks or so. Look out for that. But in terms of a bunch of the stuff you guys are looking for, it's not happening. You're going to have to wait until maybe next year for most of this content. Sorry if you're on Xbox and PC. You're going to be waiting a while for new heroes. All right. Thanks. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week for more Marvel's Avengers grinding for gear that I can't reroll. I'm Sadat the Gamer, signing out.